No one really teaches us responsibility and commitment. It's one of these things that are learned through monkey see, monkey do, the old way. We see the people in our surroundings, whether they can take on responsibility, whether they can take on commitment, whether they're committed to something or not, and then we're just taught that way. In school, we're taught our fair share of maybe algebra and math and all of these things, but responsibility and commitment, these are not logical things at all. When it comes to responsibility, I'm going to explain. You can either take on responsibility or you cannot. It's a very emotional thing, but also you can take on a lot of responsibility logically and then still not feel like you have responsibility. For example, a president of a country, he has a tremendous responsibility. He has the weight of a country on his shoulders, and he may not feel that he has the weight of a country on his shoulders. He may just be a president to feed his ego, and he's not feeling that responsibility at all. But what if you cannot take any responsibility? What if you cannot commit to anything? Are you gonna blame the school system? Because the school system is only for logical things, man. For logical things. And these emotional things, whether how to take on responsibility and appropriate, feel the appropriate amount of responsibility as well, those things need to be congruent in some way or another. Because if they're not, there is a huge mismatch, just like the president example that I gave you. Or you can give somebody a task to go to the supermarket, and they may be overwhelmed with the responsibility. They might be like, what if I mess it up? What if I get the wrong thing? What if I forget a thing? What if I get an expired thing? I don't check the date, the expiration date, and I come home and then I have to go back. I'm just overwhelmed with the responsibility, man. You know? You see how that there's such a huge mismatch. On this one example, the president of a country has huge logically responsibility but low commitment to it, and then there's low responsibility logically going to the supermarket. Even if you mess it up, big fucking deal, nobody cares. You can go back. It's not the end of the world, it's not the end of anything, but still they might feel a huge level of commitment. So that responsibility commitment ratio is so skewed, so messed up, and I don't know how to fix it. I don't know how to fix it myself, because sometimes I feel, sometimes, who am I kidding? Most of the time, my level of responsibility and commitment are totally mismatched. I'm just over exaggerating perhaps the responsibility, or sometimes I'm even under exaggerating the responsibility, and I don't commit to it even though I have responsibility logically a lot. I mean, I'm just going here on a tangent, but I am just right now aware of the problem, but I'm not aware of the solution. So I'm just speaking out about the problem, and perhaps I'm gonna come to a solution eventually during my lifetime. But I'm just aware that there's such a mismatch here, and no one really teaches us. It's monkey see, monkey do. That's how we see. If we see our mom stressing out about going to the supermarket, we think that we need to do that as well. We think that maybe that's the end of the world, but maybe it was the end of the world when we were kids, because if your mom got the wrong thing from the supermarket, your dad would yell at your mom and they would get in a big fight, and then your whole week would be ruined. Maybe that's how responsibility and commitment kind of etches in our brain and teaches us how to feel about these things. Maybe your dad was a fucking psychopath. What about that? Maybe he was a psychopath, and maybe he was a CEO of 2,000 people company, and he didn't give a shit about any of them. Then you're gonna be like, well, that's not a big deal. I could be a CEO as well. You don't have to give a shit. You don't have to give anything to anybody. So that's kind of the way that I feel about these things. and I'm trying to find a solution, but I'm just happy right now that I'm just problem aware, because once you're problem aware, you can start searching for the solution. But I wasn't last year this time, and for my whole life, for the majority of my whole life, I wasn't aware about these things, responsibility, commitment. I just felt them. But I couldn't put them into words. Well, now I can put the problem into words and I can figure it out eventually. So that's my goal. I'm sharing it here. If you have any recommendations, I would love to hear it. I would love to hear them. Comment down below.